Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where screens dominate our attention and devices seem to run our lives. Some people say technology is pulling us away from faith, from silence, from truth. But what if we've misunderstood it? What if, instead of being a distraction, technology is actually becoming a divine tool? One that's bringing us closer to God in ways we never imagined. Let me explain 5 key things. Number 1, instant access to spiritual wisdom. In the past, accessing spiritual wisdom often required time, travel, and proximity to a religious leader or sacred space. If you wanted to hear a sermon, you had to be present in the building. If you needed insight from a sacred text, you had to own a physical copy or visit someone who did. Spiritual knowledge was treasured, but also limited by physical and geographical boundaries. Today, all of that has changed. We are living in a time where spiritual wisdom is no longer locked away. It's been unleashed across the globe, flowing through wires and signals, available at the tap of a finger. This is the era of instant access, and it's one of the most powerful ways technology is bringing us closer to God. Imagine someone waking up at 3 a.m., their heart heavy, their mind overwhelmed, unsure of what to do or who to turn to. In the past, they might have had to wait until morning to call a pastor or walk into a place of worship. Now, they can open their phone, type a few words, and find a video sermon speaking directly to their pain. They can read a verse that gives them peace, listen to worship music that calms their soul, or join a live prayer meeting with people from across the globe. In that moment, God meets them right where they are, not in a church pew, not in a conference, but in their room through a screen. That's not a downgrade in spirituality. It's a divine upgrade in accessibility. Technology has removed the barriers between seeking and receiving. Whether it's a Bible study app, a podcast on spiritual growth, or a devotional emailed every morning, people now have a constant stream of godly wisdom available to them. And it's not just surface-level content, it's deep, transformative, soul-shifting truth, being shared by spiritual leaders, teachers, and everyday believers alike. No matter what time it is, no matter where you are, you can access encouragement, guidance, and insight to help you grow. That level of access is revolutionary. It's also empowering. It means you don't have to wait for someone to feed you spiritually. You can feed yourself. You can take ownership of your growth. You can explore Scripture in multiple translations, dive into theological discussions, or study ancient truths with modern tools. You can learn at your own pace, reflect in your own space, and grow in your own time. You're no longer limited by how often you attend a service or how close you live to a place of worship. God's wisdom is mobile, and it moves with you. And this access isn't just for those who already believe. It's changing the lives of people who have never stepped foot in a church or opened a holy book. A single video clip on social media, a quote shared on someone's story, or a snippet of a worship song playing in the background of a reel. These moments are planting seeds in hearts that didn't even know they were searching. Spiritual content is finding people where they scroll, where they rest, where they hide. And often, those moments lead to deeper questions, to prayer, to healing, to a personal encounter with God that begins through a screen and continues in the soul. Technology is also breaking the silence around hard questions. People struggling with doubt, pain, or trauma now have access to sermons and articles that address their exact situation. They can search for answers and find people who have walked the same road and found peace. They can engage with voices from across the world who have experienced the same struggles and come out stronger in faith. In that connection, healing happens, wisdom flows, God speaks, loudly, clearly, and immediately. Of course, not everything online is sacred. Not every voice is trustworthy. But the beauty is that even in the noise, the truth has found a way to rise. Those who seek God sincerely are finding Him, not in the silence of a mountaintop retreat, but in the middle of a busy feed. God is not confined to holy buildings. He is showing up in podcasts, apps, playlists, forums, and live streams. He's using every channel to whisper His love, declare His truth, and reveal His will. This is the miracle of our moment. That no matter your background, your location, or your level of understanding, you now have access to the wisdom that transforms. It's not just information, it's revelation. It's not just data, it's divine truth made available instantly to a generation that is hungry for meaning and desperate for peace. So when people say technology is a distraction, remind them, it can also be a doorway to purpose, a doorway to understanding, a doorway to God, and right now, that door is open wider than it has ever been in history. The question isn't whether spiritual wisdom is available. The question is, are we willing to receive it? Because the light is on, the invitation is constant, and the connection is only a tap away. Number 2, digital communities of faith in a world that often feels divided, lonely, and fast-paced. Digital communities of faith have emerged as powerful sanctuaries of connection, healing, and spiritual growth. These online spaces are not just convenient, they are sacred. They're proving that community isn't limited by walls, pews, or addresses. People are gathering across time zones, cultures, and backgrounds to worship, pray, and grow together. And in doing so, they are discovering that faith can flourish even in virtual spaces. For many people, attending a traditional place of worship is difficult. Some live in areas where their faith is not widely accepted. Others struggle with social anxiety, physical disabilities, or demanding work schedules. Some have been hurt by religious institutions and are afraid to return. But digital communities have made it possible for these individuals to reconnect with faith without fear, shame, or limitation. They can log in from anywhere, be anonymous if they choose, and still experience real spiritual nourishment and authentic connection. That kind of accessibility is not just innovative, it's life-changing. Online prayer groups are one of the most profound examples. People are meeting daily, weekly, even hourly to pray together over Zoom, Facebook Live, WhatsApp, and other platforms. These prayers are real, raw, and deeply powerful. You'll find someone in Nigeria praying for someone in Canada, or a teenager in India being uplifted by a group of elders in the United States. Physical distance disappears in the face of shared faith. When two or more gather, even online, God shows up. These communities are proof that the Spirit is not confined by space and that true fellowship is a matter of heart, not geography. Worship is also being redefined in digital spaces. You can open your phone and be instantly immersed in a worship experience, led by people from all over the world. Whether it's a full Sunday service live-streamed from a church you've never been to, or a quiet acoustic worship session from someone's living room, you can encounter God's presence in your bedroom, in your car, or while walking through a park. This means that no matter where you are or what you're going through, you never have to feel disconnected from the body of Christ. You can always plug into something deeper. Even beyond prayer and worship, digital communities are creating spaces for learning and growth. Virtual Bible studies, discipleship courses, and spiritual mentorship programs are thriving online. People are reading scripture together, discussing tough questions, and holding each other accountable, all through digital tools. Some of these relationships are more consistent and life-giving than ones people had in person. The internet is allowing people to find their spiritual tribe, people who share not only their faith but their hunger, their struggles, their questions, and their calling. There's also a new level of honesty in many of these online communities. People feel safer to open up in a chat than they might in a crowded room. Vulnerability flows more freely when judgment feels distant. People talk about their depression, their doubts, their addiction, their need for prayer, and they are met not with shame, but with love, encouragement, and support. In these moments, screens don't separate us, they connect us. Real ministry is happening through comment sections, DMs, and voice notes. Real healing is taking place when someone shares their burden and hears, "You're not alone, I've been there too." These communities are also reaching people who would have never walked into a church. Some are exploring faith for the first time through YouTube channels, Christian TikTok accounts, Instagram devotionals, or even gaming communities that host faith-based conversations. They're being drawn in not by pressure, but by presence, by the genuine kindness and consistency of believers who show up online with compassion and purpose. Evangelism has moved beyond pulpits and pamphlets. It's happening in live streams, comments, and captions. It's meeting people where they are, on their phones, and showing them a God who meets them there too. And perhaps most beautifully, digital communities are giving people a renewed sense of belonging. In a world where so many feel unseen, these spaces say, you matter. You're part of something bigger. You're not doing this journey alone. That sense of spiritual family, even when it exists through screens, has saved lives. It has restored faith. It has reminded countless people that they are still connected to the heart of God and the body of believers, even if they never meet in person. Of course, digital community will never fully replace face-to-face fellowship, and it's not meant to. But it is a powerful supplement. It's a bridge for the broken, a refuge for the outcast, and a platform for the faithful. God is using these communities to call His people together in new and creative ways. He's proving that wherever people seek Him, whether in a church, a living room, or a live stream, He will be found. We are no longer waiting to be invited into spiritual spaces. We're building them. We're joining hands across fiber optics and lifting hearts through Wi-Fi signals. And through these digital communities of faith, heaven is touching earth in ways our ancestors could never have imagined. Number 3, testimonies are going viral in a world where news spreads in seconds and trends can circle the globe in minutes. Something powerful is happening. Testimonies are going viral. Stories of transformation, healing, redemption, and divine encounters are no longer limited to the walls of a church or the pages of a book. They're being shared through videos, reels, blogs, and posts, and they're reaching people far beyond what anyone could have imagined. These aren't just feel-good stories. They're moments of truth that carry weight, stir hearts, and change lives. The voices of everyday people are echoing across digital platforms, and those echoes are drawing others closer to God. There was a time when testimonies were shared only during a Sunday service or a revival night. A person would stand in front of a congregation, often nervous, and tell their story, how they were lost and now they're found, how they were broken and now healed. Those moments were beautiful, intimate, and inspiring, but they were also limited by time and space. Only those present could hear and be moved. Now, one video posted on social media can be heard by millions. That same story, once whispered into a microphone in a quiet sanctuary, is now being amplified across nations. The power of a testimony lies in its truth. When someone tells their story of how God showed up in the middle of their darkest hour, it does something. It breaks through the noise, it silences doubt. It reminds people that miracles still happen, that grace still flows, that hope is not just a concept, it's real. And when that kind of story is shared online, its impact multiplies. People who don't even believe in God stop scrolling to listen. People who are going through silent battles suddenly feel seen. Someone battling depression hears about a breakthrough and dares to believe again. Someone contemplating giving up sees a post about deliverance and decides to hold on a little longer. What's even more powerful is that these testimonies are coming from ordinary people, not just pastors or public speakers, but students, single mothers, former addicts, entrepreneurs, and survivors. Their raw honesty is what makes their voices so impactful. It's not polished, it's real, and real is what people are starving for. In a world full of filters and facades, a genuine story of pain turning into purpose shines like a light in the darkness. People are now filming themselves in their cars, in their kitchens, on walks, stalking straight into the camera with tears in their eyes and faith in their hearts. They're saying, I shouldn't be here, but God saved me. They're saying, I was drowning, but grace pulled me out. And the comment sections of these videos are filled with more than likes. They're filled with prayers, shared experiences, and gratitude. Strangers are saying, this is exactly what I needed today. Or, your story just gave me hope again. The testimony becomes a spark, and that spark sets hearts on fire across the world. This kind of digital testimony is also redefining what ministry looks like. You don't have to stand on a stage to preach the gospel. You just have to be willing to share your truth. When people hear someone speak about how they overcame trauma, found peace in the chaos, or turned away from a destructive lifestyle, they aren't just hearing words, they're witnessing proof. And that proof is more powerful than any argument. You can debate theology, but you can't debate transformation. You can question religion, but you can't ignore a changed life. And when that changed life is visible online for all to see, God is glorified in a whole new way. There's also something deeply encouraging about the timing of these viral moments. Many of them come right when someone needs them most. A video randomly shows up on someone's feed just as they're praying for a sign. A post goes live right as someone is about to make a destructive decision. A live stream begins just as someone feels completely alone. This isn't just technology working, it's divine timing. God is using algorithms, platforms, and digital reach to make sure that hope finds its way into broken places. And as these stories continue to spread, a wave of courage is rising. More people are finding the strength to share their own testimony. They're realizing that their voice matters, that their pain had a purpose, and that their breakthrough wasn't just for them. It was meant to be a light for someone else. This chain reaction of testimony upon testimony is creating a digital revival. It's not happening in one place, it's everywhere. It's quiet but powerful. It's humble but unstoppable. Testimonies going viral is not a coincidence. It's a movement. It's God using the tools of this generation to awaken hearts and call His people home. Every view, every share, every saved post is a seed planted, and those seeds are growing into faith, healing, restoration, and salvation. So don't underestimate your story. Don't hold it back. You never know who needs to hear what you've been through. You never know whose life will be forever changed by your testimony. In this digital age, your voice can travel where your feet cannot. And when God breathes on that story, it won't just be heard. It will echo in hearts all over the world. Number 4, silence is being reclaimed through digital tools in the chaos of modern life. Silence has become a rare and precious gift. The noise of daily responsibilities, endless notifications, and the constant pressure to stay connected have made it difficult for many to simply be still. Yet in the middle of this overstimulated world, something remarkable is happening. Silence is being reclaimed, not by stepping away from technology, but by leaning into it in a new way. Digital tools, often blamed for our distractions, are now becoming pathways back to spiritual stillness, intentional reflection, and deep inner peace. It may sound ironic that the very devices we once viewed as the source of noise are now guiding us into silence. But that's the beauty of transformation. Tools are only as powerful as the hands that use them. People are learning to repurpose their screens for sacred space. A phone is no longer just a tool for communication. It's a portal to communion. Apps that once drained time are now helping users pause, breathe, and connect with something greater than themselves. This quiet revolution is not about disconnecting from the world, it's about reconnecting with the soul. There are digital devotionals that help guide users into a moment of stillness at the beginning or end of the day. Simple notifications remind us to pray, to be grateful, or to reflect. Soft instrumental music streams through headphones, creating an atmosphere for meditation or scripture reading. Guided prayer apps lead users step by step into conversations with God they may not have known how to start on their own. These tools are giving structure to silence, helping people slow down without feeling lost in the stillness. In a time when many feel overwhelmed by anxiety or uncertainty, digital silence offers a place of refuge. It's not just about turning off the noise of the world, it's about tuning in to a deeper voice. And that voice doesn't shout, it whispers. It speaks in moments when the notifications are paused, the background noise fades, and the heart becomes quiet enough to hear again. Technology, used intentionally, is helping people create these sacred pauses throughout the day. It might be 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes before bed, or a moment of quiet during a lunch break. But those small pauses are opening up profound space for healing and clarity. What's even more powerful is that these tools are being accessed by people who might never have stepped into a traditional setting of silence. Some have never practiced meditation or contemplative prayer. Others have never had the opportunity to retreat or experience spiritual solitude. Now, with just a few taps, they can access centuries-old practices brought to life through modern formats. Whether it's a breathing app with biblical affirmations or a digital journal that prompts spiritual reflection, these tools are reintroducing people to themselves and to God. There's also a growing movement of live online gatherings centered around silence. Virtual prayer rooms, contemplative live streams, and silent worship sessions are being hosted on platforms like Zoom, YouTube, and Instagram. These moments often include soft visuals, gentle voices, and long stretches of guided quiet. And what's incredible is how people from around the world sit together in this silence, united not by conversation, but by presence. It's a reminder that we are not alone in our stillness. There is a global hunger to rest, to breathe, and to hear from God without all the noise. Silence is no longer just for monasteries or mountaintop retreats. It's being brought into homes, apartments, hospital rooms, dorms, and even offices, wherever a person can pause and be still. Digital tools are democratizing the sacred, giving people from every background access to peace. They're replacing endless scrolling with intentional rest. They're offering quiet in a world that never seems to stop talking. This reclamation of silence isn't about abandoning technology. It's about redefining how we use it. Instead of being controlled by it, we're choosing to engage with it differently. We're turning down the volume and turning up the presence. We're reclaiming space for reflection, for prayer, and for peace in the very places we once lost it. And in doing so, we're discovering that silence isn't emptiness, it's fullness. It's where clarity comes. It's where God often speaks the loudest. Many people are finding that their most intimate spiritual moments are now happening in these digital silences. It might be a verse that gently appears on their screen just when they needed it, a notification reminding them to take 3 deep breaths and invite God into their day, a calming voice guiding them to let go of stress and return to trust. These are not small things. They're sacred moments of reconnection. They're digital acts of worship, and they're reshaping how people experience God in the everyday. In reclaiming silence through digital tools, a new rhythm is being born. One that values stillness as strength. One that understands that in order to hear clearly, we must first be quiet. And one that honors the fact that even in a digital age, the human soul still longs for space to breathe, reflect, and rest in the presence of the divine. This movement is just beginning. As more people seek balance, peace, and spiritual depth, digital silence will continue to rise, not as a trend but as a lifeline. In a world of constant connection, choosing sacred disconnection, even for a few minutes, has become one of the most powerful spiritual practices of our time. And technology, once seen as the enemy of peace, is now becoming one of its most unexpected allies. Number 5, purpose is being discovered and shared in the heart of the digital age. Something deeply personal and profoundly spiritual is unfolding. People are discovering their purpose and sharing it with the world in ways never before possible. What was once a private journey of self-discovery is now being amplified across platforms, reaching ears and hearts on a global scale. Through videos, blogs, podcasts, live streams, and social media posts, individuals are not only finding clarity about why they're here, they're inspiring others to do the same. Purpose is no longer something hidden or exclusive. It is being unearthed, celebrated, and passed on like a torch from one soul to another. For many, the road to purpose begins in confusion or pain. Questions echo in their minds: why am I here? What am I meant to do? Is there more to life than this? These questions are timeless, but the way we answer them has changed. Today, Digital spaces are filled with testimonies, teachings, and tools that help people search for meaning. A person scrolling through their feed might stumble upon a short video that speaks directly to their soul. A blog post written by someone they've never met may unlock something they've buried deep inside. An online course or virtual mentor can guide them step by step through discovering gifts they didn't even know they had. The internet, when used with intention, becomes a mirror that reflects purpose back to the seeker. And when people begin to discover that purpose, they're no longer keeping it to themselves. They're sharing it, not for fame, but out of a desire to serve. Purpose, when truly found, can't be contained. It flows outward, touching lives and uplifting others. You'll see it in the woman who starts a podcast to encourage survivors of trauma. You'll find it in the man who turns his recovery story into a movement that helps others break free. It shows up in the teen who uses their art to spread hope, the mother who writes devotionals during nap time, or the entrepreneur who builds a business around faith and generosity. Their purpose becomes a message, and the internet becomes their microphone. What's remarkable is how many people are being awakened through this shared sense of mission. Someone hears a story that mirrors their own and suddenly realizes they're not alone. They're not broken or lost. They're being shaped. The struggles they've faced weren't wasted. They were preparing them for something greater. The digital sharing of purpose has become a ministry in itself. Each video, post, or message is like a seed planted in someone else's heart. And those seeds are beginning to grow in unexpected and beautiful ways. This open sharing of purpose is also dissolving the myth that only a few people are called. The internet is reminding everyone that purpose is not reserved for pastors, speakers, or influencers. It belongs to every soul. It might look different for each person, but it is equally powerful. Purpose may be teaching, creating, serving, healing, leading, or encouraging. It may unfold through parenthood, art, community work, or even quiet presence. No expression is too small. No platform is too simple. Purpose is about impact, not popularity. And thanks to digital spaces, people are embracing the value of what they carry, even if only a handful of others ever see it. The courage it takes to share one's purpose online is not lost either. Many people are stepping out of fear, doubt, and insecurity to say, "This is what I'm here for." That declaration is a spiritual moment. It's not ego, it's obedience. It's a surrender to something bigger. And every time someone shares from that place, it invites others to step forward too. Purpose becomes contagious. One person's breakthrough leads to another's awakening. A post about overcoming fear leads someone else to chase a forgotten dream. A story about second chances helps someone believe it's not too late for them. This ripple effect is changing lives every day. The beauty of discovering purpose in the digital age is that it's no longer tied to location, status, or background. A person in a remote village can inspire someone in a major city. Someone with no formal education can teach deep spiritual truths. Someone with no stage or spotlight can still lead others with light. God is using every tool, every platform, and every willing heart to remind people that they were made for more, and that their more matters. Even more, people are learning that purpose is not just about doing something great. It's about being faithful with what's in your hands. Purpose is not always grand or loud. Sometimes it's quiet consistency, daily kindness, or simply showing up when it's hard. And when people share those moments online, it strips away the performance and brings back authenticity. It says, purpose is right where you are. That message is giving people permission to live with intention, to show up fully, and to believe that their life has meaning, even if it doesn't look like anyone else's. This digital age has become a megaphone for mission, a spotlight for calling, and a bridge for purpose to travel from one life to another. And as more people find the courage to share what they were made to do, the world grows brighter, kinder, and more connected. Purpose is not just being discovered, it's being activated, and that activation is leading countless people closer to the one who gave them that purpose in the first place. So don't curse the age we live in, bless it. Don't hide from the digital world, transform it, because this is not just the age of information, this is the age of revelation, and technology, when surrendered to divine purpose, doesn't pull us away from God, it draws us closer than ever before. Thank you.